All right, let's finish up chapter 35 today. We're going to read the last two sections. The ISN pages are due tomorrow, and you will take the chapter 35 test tomorrow as well. So section 35.9 is on recreation. There were many forms of recreation in Rome. Wealthy Romans had a lot of leisure, that means free time, because slaves did the work. The rich enjoyed plays in the theaters and musical performances in one another's homes. Both rich and poor often relaxed at Rome's public baths. There they could bathe, swim, exercise, and enjoy a steam bath or a massage. The baths also had gardens, libraries, shops, and art galleries. Roman emperors made sure to give the poor bread and circuses, food and entertainment to keep them busy and happy. Besides the many festivals throughout the year, rich and poor alike flocked to two spectacles, gladiator contests and chariot races. And there's a test question about bread and circuses, food and entertainment, so pay special attention. Romans watched gladiators fight in large public arenas, like the Colosseum. Both men and women were gladiators. Usually they were slaves or prisoners of war, although some won or bought their freedom in time. The crowd shouted as the gladiators fought each other and wild animals to the death. Many thousands of gladiators died bloody and painful deaths for the entertainment of the spectators. A favorite gathering place was the Circus Maximus, a huge racetrack with room for 200,000 spectators. There, Romans watched thrilling chariot races. Wealthy citizens sat on plush cushions close to the track, with shades protecting them from the sun. The poor sat on wooden benches high above the track. Men and women sat in separate sections at the Colosseum, but could sit together at the Circus Maximus. A Roman poet said the Circus Maximus was the best place to meet a new boyfriend or girlfriend, because you never knew who would sit next to you. The picture at the top is the Circus Maximus. Chariot races thrilled thousands of spectators. Rome's gladiator contests bottom were bloody and deadly. So, yes, rich and poor got to go to these spectacles, but their experience and where they sat and all those things were a little different for rich and poor. So when you're filling out your chart, in the middle, of course, will be that they got to go, but what it was like would go on the outside. Also, don't forget about the rich having theaters and musical performances. That was something that the poor did not get. And they both got public baths, which is more than just a place to bathe, as you saw. It has a lot more to it. So take a moment, fill out your chart, and we will do one more section. Pause if you need to. So section 35.10 is country life. Rome was one of the many cities scattered throughout the Roman Empire, but 90% of the empire's people lived in the country. There, too, rich and poor had very different lives. Wealthy Romans often owned country estates with large homes called villas. A villa was a place for Romans to invest their money in raising crops and livestock, and it was a pleasant place to relax in the summer's heat. When they went to the country, wealthy estate owners checked up on how their farms were being managed. But they had plenty of time left over for reading and writing, as well as for hunting, picnicking, and taking long walks in the fresh air. The empire's farms provided much of the food for Rome and other cities. They produced grain for bread, grapes for wine, and olives for oil. Goats and sheep provided cheese, and their skins and wool were made into clothing. Cattle and pigs were raised for their meat. Farmers also kept bees for making honey, the sweetener used by the Romans. Slaves did much of the actual work of farming. Overseers or supervisors kept a close eye on the slaves and often treated them cruelly. Many people in the countryside were not slaves, but their lives were hard. They lived in huts and worked their own small farms, trying to earn enough to survive. Or they labored on the estates, tending the animals, helping with the crops, or working as servants. In the 1st century CE, Paul of Tarsus, a Christian writer, summed up the lives of the empire's poor. He wrote, "He who does not work shall not eat." And there's a picture of a Roman villa Lush landscaping surrounds the large house. So take a moment, fill out the chart of the difference between the rich and the poor. One thing in common is that 90% of them lived in the countryside, and then their lifestyle, of course, was very different. Reminder, finish up your ISN. You can read through the review at the end if you like, but finish up your ISN pages, and we will take the test tomorrow. I'm just taking a look at my ISN pages to see what the last page is. Do not worry about the processing. You do not need to do that. So, good luck tomorrow on the test.